Hello and welcome to today's video, which will be under the periodic table review. It will include basic structure of an atom and arrangement of the periodic table. So please make sure you have the periodic table review worksheet and follow along as we go over it. As you notice, I've already filled in these elements on the periodic table and highlighted, because if you look at number 1, it says draw this stair-step line. So if you want to pause the video, go ahead and fill that up and get caught up with me. Thank you. Welcome back. So what is the purpose of this line? Well, the line separates the metals, which is all on the left side, to the nonmetals, which are all on the right. The specific ones I've labeled here are called the metalloids. They have characteristics of both metals and nonmetals. So please make sure you have this filled out. We're going to be filling in more on this as we go through the instructions. I just wanted to get that done. Okay, so hopefully if you remember from 6th grade, 8th grade, some properties of metals. So what are the properties of metals? Can you think of the list now? Okay, hopefully you can remember some of these things. And number 1 is they're kind of shiny. And one of the big ones you're going to see throughout and remember is malleability. They're malleable. And that just again means shapeable. Remember that's an intrinsic characteristics of them. Good conductors. Of heat and electrical. Okay, and also they're solid. All metals are solid, except for mercury, and that's actually liquid, but most of them are solid. And you can also say they're silver in color, but not always. Okay, so there's the list of properties of metals. The properties of nonmetals is basically the opposite of that, right? So they're brittle, they're dull, non-conductors, and something special is nonmetals over here. They exist in all 3 states: solid, liquid, gases. So that's something unique about that. Okay, so hopefully you have this list written down, and we're going to go ahead and move down to the next part. Again, if you need time to fill that list out, go ahead and pause the video now, fill that out, and then come back. Okay, so right now we're going to be labeling the alkali metal family. So these are some of the special families you need to know throughout. We're going to be referencing it throughout the year. Okay, so the alkali metals is actually here. This first column here are the alkali metals, except for hydrogen right there. So that's a gas. That is the one non-metal that again is over here. So if you want to go ahead and label that, we can do that. So we're going to label this. I'm going to go ahead and put it on the side here. You can do it however you want, just so you remember that it is this 1A column here. The next one is alkaline earth metals. So remember, this is alkaline metals, this is alkaline earth metals, and this is group 2A. Here, I'm going to just do an arrow where I put it up here. Do it however you want and label it, just so that you know for yourself. Okay. The transition metals is all this group right here. These are called the transition. I know in 6th and 8th grade you didn't really talk about these. We're going to be talking about them a lot more this year. And these are called the inner transition metals. And we really won't be talking about this group here, but you do need to know these are the intertransition metals. Again, we've already labeled these as the metalloids. So if you want to highlight that special or just designate these are the metalloids, and they have characteristics of both nonmetals and metals. And then we're going to go move on to the halogen family, which is 7A here. Halogens, and then this last column, group 8A, is the noble gases. Okay, you're going to really need to know how this is done. We're going to be coming back and forth with the periodic table throughout the whole year. But these are kind of the characteristics. Also, a good habit is if you actually memorize the first 18, that'll help a lot. Not that you have to, you'll always be given a periodic table, but that'll just help speed things up if you can memorize the first 18. And we're going to be spending a lot of time throughout the year coming back to the periodic table, talking about its structure and stuff. Okay, moving on. Remember, columns are groups and families, and rows are periods. Okay, so if you want to label that, I'm going to put that up here, and I'm going to make rows and draw arrows back and forth like that, and then groups, however you want to label it is up to you. Just make sure groups, and they are also called families, groups or families. And those are the columns. And I'm going to do it like that. So just make sure you have your label. Make sure you probably keep this definitely in your notebooks and have this with you. This is going to be really helpful throughout the whole year. Yeah, moving on to the next page. And I know you've seen this similar in 8th grade, so we're going to talk about that. So you start with charge. And hopefully you remember proton has a charge of what? Give you a moment to think. Hopefully you came up. It is the positive charge. Neutrons have a no charge, or we say neutral charge. And then electrons then are the electrons. A lot of people think, I know you might have learned P positive for protons, but then you think neutrons negative. Remember, neutrons are neutral, so they have no charge. It's the electrons that are negative. Mass, we call this 1 AMU for protons, 1 mass AMU for neutrons. And electrons have mass, but it's really tiny. Even to think about an atom, this is super tiny. So we actually consider it as no mass because this doesn't make a difference. It's like if you go weigh yourself and you have an earring in, you don't take the earring off when you go weigh yourself at the doctor's office just because it doesn't matter compared to the overall weight. So it's kind of like that. It does have mass. It's just so tiny, it doesn't really make a difference. Okay, and then locations. Protons are in the nucleus. Nucleus. So are the neutrons. And the electrons are on the outside of the nucleus. And sometimes it's called the electron cloud. Okay, all right, energy levels. It's going to be several things we refer to. So using that information, we're going to go here. And if we look, the purple ones here are the center with the plus, or of course the protons. Right there is the neutrons. And And out here on the outside is where the electrons are. And hopefully you've noticed that if the proton and neutrons are what we consider mass, and the electrons really have no mass, then all the mass of an atom is right here in the nucleus. Very dense there. Okay. And hopefully if you look at the periodic table, if you go to it and you look at the elements, they all have an atomic number. Well, that atomic number is always the number of protons. Okay, really need to hammer that down. If you see the atomic number, like carbon is 6, that means carbon has 6 protons. If the atom does not have 6 protons, it is not carbon, right? Hydrogen is 1, helium is 2, lithium is 3, so on. That is the number of protons. We'll need to know that. Right, so if we look at this, let's count how many protons there are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So what element is it? What element has 4 protons? So check out your periodic table, take a look. Hopefully you have an answer, and you should have that the answer is beryllium. Okay, so we're going to remember that it is beryllium, which the symbol is Be, and we have the atomic number is 4. As we've already said, it's got 4 protons here, so this is a picture of beryllium. And its atomic mass of beryllium, it's different based on what periodic table you get, about how many significant figures, but the one I'm looking at right now, it is this. Okay, so you should have that, and yeah, so what side of the periodic table it is? Well, it is a metal, because it's located on the left of the staircase. Okay, now looking at your notes, you're going to need to know both these people's names. Mendeleev is considered the father of the periodic table. I'll highlight that here. Okay, he's the first one to reach the periodic table. He did it based on atomic mass. And there are a couple pairs on the periodic table that are different based on mass. Like if you look at trillium 52 and iodine 53, those would have been switched on Mendeleev's periodic table, as trillium has a higher mass than iodine. So that's one thing. Moseley then is based on modern periodic table. Again, you're going to need to know the difference for these two scientists. And he did it based on atomic number, which is the number of protons. So and elements with similar properties are grouped in the same, what was it going back to here? Same, what words seem similar? Groups and families. Okay, that's why they are called groups or families, because of those similar properties. So in the same family. Remember, family is up and down columns. Okay, so it's student number 8. While you're geocaching, you find a shiny rock. You brought it home, and after testing it, found it's a very good conductor of electricity and can be pounded flat. Malleable. Remember, key vocabulary word you need to know. What type of substance is this rock? Is it a metal or no metal? So let's look at the key characteristics here. We know it is a very good conductor. Be pounded flat, malleable, that's that key word. Okay, and back up here we saw shiny. So hopefully you've looked back on the first page and know that it is a metal. This unknown gas is used to between double pane glass windows to decrease radiant energy heating your home. It has 18 protons. Which element is this? Well, how are you going to find that out? Well, hopefully again you still have your periodic table with you, and you're going to find element 18, and that tells you what's the element. It is also the pirate's favorite element, argon. Okay, and it has how many has 18 protons, which again is its atomic number, and that's how you find elements. And what are similar? Well, where are you going to look? Again, family, which is up and down columns. Argon is a noble gas, so you can list any others of the noble gas, any three. I like krypton just because Superman. And we'll say neon, neon signs, and then xenon. It's fun to say. Okay, so last part here. Actually, I want you to try to do that on your own and then check back with your teacher. If you have any questions, look over it, try to answer this all on your own, fill in this chart, and then answer that question. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Again, please come to class with any questions for your teacher. Also, again, this video will always be up, that you can always come back to it and make sure you have more understanding, rewatch it as many times as you need. Thank you and have a good day.